Okay, so now let's go over the next part, which is about conditional execution, and functions are also going to be used in this part. So my cat is here now. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to hear him purring, but anyway. So let's look at the first question here. So we have a function defined called a. The function takes one parameter or one argument called x. If x is greater than or equal to 5, the function prints the value of x and then prints greater than or equal to 5. And if x is less than or equal to 10, the function prints the value of x followed by less than or equal to 10. Okay, and that's all this function does. So let's look at the main code here. There's 3 lines in the main code. The function is called with 2 for x, and then with 7 for x, and then with 12 for x. All right, so after a of 2, we're going to plug in 2 up here for x, and then we're going to check, is 2 greater than or equal to 5? No, it's not, so this is not going to happen. And then it's going to check, is 2 less than or equal to 10? Yes, actually 2 is less than or equal to 10. So what's going to print out here is going to be, so looking at the print line here, it's going to be the value of x, which is 2. And then because there's this comma here, whenever you have things between commas in the print command, it's going to put a space between them, and then it's going to print less than or equal to 10. All right, now for the second call of the a function, again, we're going to plug in 7 for x. It's going to check, is 7 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is actually. So now we're going to print 7 greater than or equal to 5. And then we're not done yet. We're still using 7 for x. It's going to check, is 7 less than or equal to 10? Yes, 7 is less than or equal to 10. So now it's going to print 7 less than or equal to 10. Oops, with a space here. All right, and then for the last one, it's going to check with x equal to 12. So it's going to check, is 12 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, 12 is greater than or equal to 5, so it's going to do this print command right here. So it's going to print the value of x, 12, and then greater than or equal to 5. And then it's going to check this one, is x less than or equal to 10? X is not less than or equal to 10, so this one will not happen. So it's only going to print these 4 lines here that I've put in the comments, and let's check and make sure that's right. Yep. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. So this is very similar, but slightly different. So the difference is, instead of having an if for the second one here, it's an elif. So we're only going to get down to this elif and check it when the original if up here is false. Okay, so if the if part right here, the original conditional, is true, the elif will never get checked. It'll just get skipped. All right, so other than that, it's the exact same problem. So basically like checking if you guys know how all of these work. Okay, so in the main code down here, we're calling the function, this time the function is called b, with the same 3 values for x, 2, 7, and 12. So first we plug in 2 for x up here. So is 2 greater than or equal to 5? No, it's not. So then we're going to skip down here and we're going to check the elif. Is 2 less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. So we're going to print this line right here. So we're going to print value of x, which is 2, and then less than or equal to 10. Okay, for the next one, when x is 7, we're going to check, is 7 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So we're going to do this print right here. So we're going to print 7 greater than or equal to 5. And now we're not going to check this elif, okay? Because when the if block gets executed, the elif does not get checked. All right, so we're just going to skip down to the last one here, b of 12. And we're going to come up here in the function b and check, is 12 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So that is going to execute 12 greater than or equal to 5. And now since we did the if part, we don't even check the elif part. Okay, so that gets skipped. So there's only 3 lines that are going to print this time. Let's make sure we're right. Yep, here they are. Okay, on to the next one. So actually these first few are all very similar. So now instead of an if or an elif here, we just have an else. All right, but we're still checking if x greater than or equal to 5 for the first check. And this time I've called the function c. So when we plug in 2 to c, first we check, if x is greater than or equal to 5. Is 2 greater than or equal to 5? No, it's not, so we're going to skip this part. We're going to go down to the else, and we're going to do that part instead. Okay, so we're going to be printing x, which is 2, less than or equal to 10. All right. And now for the next one, we're plugging in 7 for x. So is 7 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So we're going to do this print right here. Oops. Print value of x, which is 7, greater than or equal to 5. Okay, and then because we did the if part, we skipped the else part. Okay, so now for the last one, we are putting in 12 for x. So we're first checking is 12 greater than or equal to 5, and yes, it is. So we are going to do this part right here. So 12 greater than or equal to 5. And then because we did the if part, we skipped the else part. So that is all that we'll print this time, these 3 lines. Okay. Now for the next one, the function is called f. And again, it is pretty similar as the last few, but make sure you notice that the if and the print for the second 2 statements are indented. So we're only going to get to check this if statement here if we actually get to execute all the code that's inside this if block under if x greater than or equal to 5. Okay, because this if is aligned with the print statement above it, it's in the same code block that's inside of this if statement up here. All right, so let's go ahead and plug in the first value, f of 2. So x is going to be 2. Is 2 greater than or equal to 5? No, it's not. So all of this code gets skipped. So nothing prints out from f of 2. Now going on to f of 7. Is 7 greater than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. So we're going to execute these lines here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to print x greater than or equal to 5. So it's 7 greater than or equal to 5. And now we're going to come to the next line of code here, and we're going to check again, is x less than or equal to 10? So is 7 less than or equal to 10? And it is. So then we're going to print out 7 less equal to 10. Okay, and then that's it for that call of the function. Hold on, I have to corral my cat. Okay, so my cat has been corralled, and I think we were plugging in f of 12 here, right? So we're going to put in 12 for x, and then we check is 12 greater than 5, greater than or equal to 5, and it is. So we're going to do this print statement here. So this is going to print 12 greater than or equal to 5, and then we're going to check the next if statement here, and we ask if 12 is less than or equal to 10. That is false, so this will not do the print command here. So we just get these 3 printouts, and there they are. Okay, for the next one, G takes 2 arguments, x and y. G checks if x is less than y. If so, then it returns x. Otherwise, it returns y. So if you think about this for a minute, what is this doing? It is returning the minimum of x and y. Okay, so it checks if one of them is smaller, and if it is, then it returns that one. Otherwise, it returns the other one. Okay, so when we look at what's going to print here, it's printing the return value from the function. Okay, so it's going to print the one that is smaller. So the first thing that's going to print here, g of 1 and 2. We're going to go up here, plug in 1 and 2 for x. This is checking if 1 is less than 2, and that is true. So it's going to return 1, and then that is what's going to print out. All right, for the next one, 3 and 3, we're coming up here, putting in 3 and 3 for x and y. Check if 3 is less than 3. It is not, so we're going to do the else part here. So we're going to return y, which is 3, and that is what's going to get printed. All right, and then for the last one here, this one is a little bit tricky, so you might need like some scratch work for this one if you were doing it on paper. But first we're going to have to work out what this inside value for g is before we can plug it into the bigger g function right here. So we're going to do g of 2 comma 3. So that is going to return 2, the smaller one. All right, and then we're going to be doing g of 1 comma 2. All right, and we already know how to do g of 1 comma 2 because we did it up here and it's just 1. All right, so this is going to return 1, and that is what's going to print out. Let's make sure. Yep, 1, 3, 1. Okay, so for the very last one here, we have 2 functions. So the first function is the same g function from the last problem. So it's going to return the smaller of the two numbers, or just one of them if it's the same number. And then the second function is just returning 2 times whatever was passed to it as the argument. Okay, so if we do h of 2, we're going to plug in 2 for z. This is going to return 2 times 2, so 4, and that's what's going to print out. And now we're doing g of 3, comma, and then h of 2 is going to be 4, as we just looked at on the last one. Okay, so this is going to be g of 3, comma, 4. Right, so like in your scratch work, you could cross out h of 2 and just write 4 there instead. So g of 3, comma, 4, we're putting in 3 and 4 here for x and y. 3 is less than 4. This is going to return 3. So this is going to print 3. And then for the very last one, we are plugging in high to the h function. You might think this is going to have an error, but actually it's not, because you can do 2 times high, and that is just going to be high, high. So it's concatenating high 2 times. And let's double check. Yep. All right, so that was that part.